Hey everybody, my name is William Jeffrey. I am the executive producer and one of the co-founders at Will Win Games, and today we're going to talk about our newest game, Plunder Panic.
Prepare to plunder.
So Plunder Panic is a swashbuckling action arcade platformer with up to 12 players. Essentially, it's two teams, two rival crews, and they're going to be battling it out on the high seas. And there's multiple ways that you can win this game, multiple different objectives. The first team to capture said objective will win the game. And here are the four different objectives. There's plunder, so grabbing gold. There's captain lives, so eliminating the other captain. And then you can also sink the enemy's ship. And you can do that two different ways, using the cannon or using a rowboat. So with this type of game, we've got a bunch of different ways to teach the gameplay to everyone. One is a tutorial video, but instead, let's go into an actual interactive tutorial. We can play through that and help you understand how the game works. So here, we're picking up some gold that's scattered around the map, so people can pick up gold and drop it wherever they would like. Sometimes they're killed capturing the gold, so you can pick it up from around the map and then bring it to your chest. And as you pick up that gold and put it in, the amount of gold goes up on the mast there. But since you're also pirates, you gotta steal some gold too. So here we are stealing some gold out of the enemy ship. So I'm on the red team here and I'm stealing red out of the blue team. We wanna make sure that they are not getting any gold. You can also take that gold, instead of bringing it to your chest, you can purchase a sword. So you can bring it to your sword shop as long as they have some in stock. And now here you go, you are a dangerous pirate. So I've got my little sword here, I can put it away so I can continue picking stuff up, or I can take it back out. Now of course with swords, there's gonna be some sword play action, so I can take out my enemies with some simple either lunge attacks or just regular slashes. But there's also some fancy moves that you can do if you're a captain or wearing a captain's hat. So there's something called an eagle drop, where you can hold it through multiple platforms and fall through platforms and attack anything below you, which is super helpful for any verticality and defending the cannon or the rowboat, things like that. So right now I'm taking out the enemy captain. You can see they got some lives at the upper right of the screen there, and once the enemy captain is out of lives, that would be one way to win the game. There's also all sorts of different items in Plunder Panic, so I'm going to cut down a coconut, because that's obviously where items come from, and toss a TNT that popped out, and I can use that to take out the enemy team. There's all sorts of different items in Plunder Panic, and we'll go over those in a little bit here. So one of the last objectives is sinking the enemy ship, so I can do it by loading a cannonball into a cannon, and if that wick manages to go all the way off, the cannon will go off there, bam, shoot the enemy ship one time. If you're able to do that a total of 3 times, their enemy ship will sink. But you can also defend this, so if someone lights the cannon against you, you can use a sword and cut that wick before it goes off. The last way to win is to row this little dinghy full of explosives at the bottom of the screen. This is sped up for the tutorial, but if you can manage to row that by tapping as fast as you can into the enemy ship, it'll blow up, and there you go. You've won the game. So those are the 4 basic win conditions, and really all the basics you need to play the game. Now what's really awesome about Plunder Panic is that it's up to 12 players, and you can do that either online or locally. So here I'm playing just a quick local match, and I've got a controller, and I'm even just using my keyboard on the other one. Anything that's connected, you can plop a pirate down into the game. So I'm going to jump him into the water here to take him out of the game. And I've got my one controller connected. And you might say, well, I don't really have 12 players around. I say, that's fine, you can throw AI in here. And you can play all sorts of different matches with up to 12 players. So there's some different game modes here. We've got kind of your standard tournament game mode with rival crews. We've got Conquest, which is an interesting tournament where you can only get one type of win condition. And you have to get as many as possible. There's also all sorts of different items here. So much like your type of Smash Brothers game, you can set your items to low, medium, high, extreme, and then turn items on and off to be cater the gameplay to however you'd like to play. So we'll discover some of these items a little more organically. We also have modify Rs, because of course there's pirate puns, but these are ways to customize the game experience and to modify your gameplay. So turning on certain status effects, or turning down gravity, making pirates faster, or turning off land, having people drop explosives when they die, that sort of thing. There's also a handful of maps. We're planning on adding a few more before our V1 launch coming up early this summer, but right now we've got 8 available maps. Looks like the Cherry Blossom map is there in the horizon. So I'm going to fill up my team with some AI here. So let's do like a 4-on-4. So I'll set sail, and then I'll add a bunch of AI to the other team. You can have asymmetrical teams if you'd like asymmetrical teams. So the victory conditions will balance depending on how many people are on each side. So if you do want to play a 4v6 or 4v5, that's perfectly fine. You can do that too. So right now, since I'm playing locally against bots, the captain here is the one with the C above their head, and that's the human player, and the other captain has a white C, so you can see that's a AI captain on the blue team. And right now, we are just playing against AI and trying to manage all the win conditions at once. So I'm running around as the red captain, trying to kind of bully the enemy captain, defending cannons, all while my team and their team are contesting the rowboat at the very bottom. A lot of the best strategies in Plunder Panic are pushing multiple win conditions at once and communicating well with your team. It is fairly frantic and hectic gameplay. It seems like there's a lot going on, so managing what's happening as best you can is really the best way to get your team and have some success. So you can see there's a little rowing battle going on in the bottom right corner there, but they were able to make it and then trigger the win condition and sink the enemy ship. At the end of each match, it'll play a nice little animation to show you how that team won. It'll put it in its little victory track there so you can keep track of the strategies your enemies have been using and how many of each they've gotten. Then it takes us to this little award screen that keeps track of all of your skills and your stats, awards you things, you know, like I was a captain killer, there's pacifists and button mashers, all sorts of things. And it gives you some options, like shuffling up the captains or even shuffling the teams. So here I just shuffled up the teams so we don't have to go back to character select. And now it looks like I'm on the blue team. And you can keep shuffling as much as you'd like. So we're starting up a new match here.
Prepare to plunder.
And out I go on the blue team. So now I am that blue captain. Now our levels kind of vary as far as the setting. So you know, this is the Arctic island here. And some are a little bit less dynamic and others have more dynamic elements. So in this case, this stage has icebergs that float away if you stand on them too long, and then they also have these dangerous ice platforms that if you stand on it kind of in the middle there, they will fall and damage those below it. The ice little platforms at the bottom will come back if they do fall off screen, so they will eventually be platforms again, but for the time being, if it's completely out of there, you have to watch out. There's now a new hole in the map. You can see that people are also picking up some new items. So there's an idol here. So if you pick up an idol on any map, something triggers and it drops down these orbs, or in this case, giant snowballs that fall wherever the idol is placed. But you can pick the idol back up and throw it. So you can use it as kind of an area denial type thing. So here I'm trying to defend the rowboat, but it's a little bit precarious because the ice platform just sailed away. So I got knocked into the water by the enemy shopkeeper. So there's a swabby on each ship who sells swords, but the enemy ship, their swabby doesn't really like you. So if you run into him, you are going to get knocked into the water. So you can see there's all sorts of chaos going on right now. Me as the blue captain in the upper left corner, I'm picking up gold and trying to swat it out. If you happen to get hit with a heavy object, like a chest or a bag of gold or a cannonball, if you get hit in the head, you will get knocked out and you'll kill your player, so I threw some gold there. I also picked up a squid shot, which you can ink people. That's why you see the Kraken arms reaching up and grabbing anyone that's near the bottom of the screen. You can evade them if you jump up high enough into the map, but in this case everybody was in that rowboat, so it was a pretty deadly Kraken attack. I also just took out the enemy captain there, so they did run out of lives, so my team just won via captain victory. And there we go. The round was a little bit less than 2 minutes, and that's probably about average, maybe 1.5 to 2 minutes for each match. It's meant to be kind of a fast-paced game, played multiple times, either casually or competitively, much like there's esports leagues. That's the type of environment we're trying to foster, and that's what you can see here in our online mode. So we've got cross-play across different platforms. We've got region select, so you have the best servers available, and then we're jumping into casual matchmaking right now, which would put us and whatever crew that we want to put together into a matchmaking a matchmaking playlist for Conquest. So here I'm adding some local controllers. I could invite friends on Steam, since I'm playing on Steam right now, and then jump into a match. So it would find me a match, but in this case, I think we're just going to cancel out and play a private match instead. So you can do all the same things that you just did in local mode. You can do that online. So here I'm jumping into a private match. I can either create a room or I can join one, and we use room codes for these. So if I was going to join that room, I could just type in a code. But in this case, I want to make one. I can either hide the code at the start, or I can have it public. So this is a real streamer-friendly game, so if you want to play and open this up to your subscribers, you could hide that room code and then invite whoever you'd like. But in this case, I made it public since I'm just doing this with some of our developers. So I've got my little room code in that upper right corner here where I just copied it to the clipboard and I hid it for a second. So I'm going to post that in our little Discord and skip forward a little bit here. So a couple of our developers just jumped in the match. So you can see we've got a few people on each team here, and we're going to start up a 3 versus 3. And as I said, we are streamer friendly. So if people are goofing around, you can, as the host, just force a match and start it, or kick players, make new hosts, that sort of thing. So now we only have one AI player in each team, and then you have all of the people with names underneath them. Those are actual real players on their preferred platform. So in this case, we're playing on Steam. I'm still the red captain. See, my name is Encryption there. And mine is colored red because any local player is going to have a colored name on your screen. So it's an easier way to keep track of all the different things going on at once. And when you do die, I don't know if you caught that, my name kind of floats back up to my next spawn point. So here, myself and Prizzy are trying to defend the rowboat down at the bottom while also pushing gold. I see there's like an idol at the top of my ship there, but that's a really bad spot. I just tried to pick it up and I got knocked off the top of the ship. But right now I'm sort of engaging in some sword fights, trying to keep the enemy team at bay a little bit, and then decide like, all right, I'm gonna try to push cannon. And I signaled to my teammate, let's grab gold, keep pushing gold. Defended that cannon with a little sword slash to knock them out of midair. One of our developers tried to do that eagle drop, that downward attack to take out the wick, which is a really great strategy, but with perfect timing you can defend it. So right now we're just kind of all trying to organize the map, not push one condition too far for one team while allowing it to get too far on our team. There's kind of a deadlock here going with gold, so the blue ship has only one more gold remaining and our ship needs 2. And there's only so much gold on the map. There's only enough for one team to win, so I do need to grab some gold here and throw it off the ship so I can take it to my ship. But the enemy team has the same idea. They just, during the time I did this, they cleared out ours to only 1 gold left. And I just fell into the water like a dummy. So you see the enemy team, they're buying some swords here on the blue side, filling their chests back up. And I also realized their enemy captain only has 1 life left. That's the flags at the upper right here. So my teammate was able to notice that, took out the enemy captain, and there we go. We won that condition. And since we're playing a conquest tournament, you can only get 1 of each victory type. And in this case, we got the captain victory down here, and we need a total of 3. But it's customizable, so if you only wanted to go to 2, or if you wanted to go all the way up to 4 and make sure everybody gets exactly all of the conditions, you can do that too. So now I'm going to shuffle the captains around a little bit so that Prizzy can have a shot, so that one will just randomly shuffle between the different players. It can also shuffle between the AI if you turn on AI captains. So now we're heading into the second match of Conquest, first 3. Now, I lost my captaincy, so what that means is I don't spawn with a sword anymore, but I now have infinite lives. So the captain is the only one whose life truly matters for the win condition. They're the one that has limited lives. Those captains spawn with a hat, which gives them an extra hit. So if you get hit wearing a hat, you just lose the hat, and then you get 1 more hit. There is a captain's hat item in the game, so if you manage to cut one down off of a tree, or as you might have seen, there's some animals in each stage moving along. Those drop items on their own, or if you knock out those enemies, those animals, they'll drop an item wherever you knock them out. So if you manage to do that, you can find a captain hat and then also get that power as a crewmate, or get that hit back as a captain. But for the crew, if you want to get a sword, I'd have to pick up a piece of gold from the map and then spend it at my sword shop. There's only so many swords available unless you turn on the Modify R of infinite swords to try to keep things a little bit balanced without too much combat. But in this case, my AI partner and myself are sort of going back and forth between how many swords or who's getting the sword. So my player here, I was trying to get gold. I had the gold chest and I was almost there to fill it up, but they were able to take out our captain right before we were able to get that victory. So I was super close on gold. Unfortunately, didn't quite get there. I think we're about to complain about it in the chat here. We're pretty family friendly for this game, so there is a nice little filter in the chat. So if you have some swears coming in, they will turn right into pirate jargon, which sometimes is actually more fun, I think. So there's some goofy things can pop up in chat, but we're trying to be, you know, a friendly game that's competitive and goofy and fun for everybody. So we're starting round 3 here in the Conquest match. Each team has gotten a captain victory already. And in Conquest, there's little visual cues that also show you what you've already gotten. So in this case, the enemy flag is draped over the top of each ship, showing that each team's gotten a captain victory already. Their flag is kind of living on your ship now, as a little visual indication. One of the goals for the design of this game was to make it easily scannable so that you can really see what's going on in the battlefield and how much progress your team has made. So things like getting gold, you can see on the mast there, you know, you can quickly see, oh, now they only need 2 gold left. You know, how much exactly they have, how much you have. With a quick glance, you can see how far the rowboat is and how close it is to whichever team, how many lives the enemy captain has, you know, denoted by those skull and crossbones flags. And then finally, the cannonballs. So, you know, if you manage to get a hit on an enemy ship, the enemy ship there has 1 hole in it right now, so you know, oh, it only needs 2 more hits before that ship is going to go down by a cannonball. So right now there's a little bit of a tough situation. We got an idol coming down and denying some area, making it hard to get back over to the blue ship. So the red ship. So the blue team was able to push the rowboat a decent amount. But once I respawned as captain, I was able to make some strides and take them out. I also picked up some Pirate Punch, which is that little keg thing there. And if you take a swig of Pirate Punch, it will make your controls reversed, but will make your pirate faster. So you can go really, really quick, but left becomes right and right becomes left, which can mix you up. You can see my character was mixed up, and I went the wrong way on the little rowboat there and just fell right into the water. Now, normally, because I was out of captain lives, I would have died completely and the game would have been over, but since we already lost via captain, I just respawned as a crewmate. So the game auto-balanced, it added an extra sword to the shop so that we wouldn't be too much of a detriment, but we're still able to continue and complete an objective. But we were definitely behind. If you lose your captain live that many times, you lose a pretty offensive force to be on your team. So now blue team is down, or sorry, red team. I always play red team. I'm used to saying blue team is down. Red team is down, and they need to take the next 2 matches. And blue team has a choice between either rowboat or cannon victory. So they can't fill up their chest all the way. If they do, they'll just be hoarding the gold, but they won't sail away and win. So we kind of know that, hey, they either need to push this rowboat or they need to push this cannon. So my team and I are strategizing, you know, a Discord channel here saying, hey, this is what we got to do. This is what we got to prepare for. Let's try to keep them away from, you know, the center of the map at this point. But things don't always go to plan. You can see they already got a quick cannon load. We weren't able to disarm it. Now someone, you know, when we were play testing before, they're like, I got hit by a cannonball. That can take me out. I'm like, yeah, of course, it's a cannonball. So you got to watch out for all the different things happening in the map. People that load the cannon's going to go off, and if it hits you, it's going to take your character out. So you can see down here in the bottom of the screen, Prizzy and I are trying to just push that rowboat back to the middle. You know, they're really getting a little too close for comfort here. We don't want to look too bad on stream. So I was able to take out the people in the boat, but we're not looking so hot. We took 2 cannon hits, so we only need 1 more cannon hit before we lose, and the rowboat is really close, but thankfully we only need 1 more gold. So I was able to defuse the cannon at the last second. Our AI and our player filled up that chest right before the enemy got to our ship with the rowboat. So we pretty much snuck victory from the jaws of defeat. I think chat is about to say the same thing. Yeah, the rowboat was lit, in fact. But thankfully, we were able to sail away with that gold before the rowboat went off. So here on the screen, you know, you can compare your scores, compare awards, and as I said, shuffle the teams, shuffle the captains, that sort of thing. So you don't have to jump all the way back to the character select if you don't want to. But you ultimately have that choice. So now each team has gotten a gold victory as well, so you can see next to each chest on each ship, there's a bunch of gold next to it. So you can still pick up that gold and, you know, keep the enemy team from being able to purchase swords if you want to do that, but now we know, alright, each team has that victory, so we don't have to watch out for it. It's a little bit of a mirror match now. But since this is the first to 3 and we each have 2 objectives, the next objective wins, so the pressure is certainly on. So I was just defending a cannon here, and unfortunately I got hit in the head by a bird dropping an item. In this case it was a dragon dropping an item. So really gotta watch out. And now it looks like there's a Kraken on loose, taking out anybody who is low enough in the map, and just barely reached me. The Kraken is really good at taking out people near the rowboat, since it's so close to the bottom of the screen there. The character in the middle just had that red cannonball, that's called a grape shot, so it has a shorter fuse if it manages to go off, which it did. So it's kind of a quick way to get a cannon off, and it does shoot shrapnel out that will hit anyone in its path. So we were able to sneak out a really quick victory here with cannon, and really an unlikely victory when we were down 2-1. But it was a well-fought match between myself and Prizzy and Hidden Dreamer Fox and Schwan there. So that was a really good match. So at this point we said, hey, let's jump back to character select. Let's change things up. So we just hold the X button here and hop back into character select. Everybody can choose whatever team that they'd like. Here on that screen you can see all the different pirates. And now let's turn on a few modifiers. Let's see, what are we going to do here? Looks like high tide, so that's going to turn off the bottom of the map. We also turned on the idols always on. Birds will drop nets, and we made it so AIs can be captain. And for good measure, we put on dance party too. So play some dance remix in the character select here while we're hanging out on the ships. So now using the chat and telling everybody like, hey, let's get on the same team. Let's all face the AI. So I think they're a little busy dancing. So we gotta tell them, get on our team here. I'm adding some AI to my team. So it can be a mix of AI and real life players. Yeah, they're really just more concerned with dancing than actually getting on that team. Oh, now they're getting it. Okay. So they jump into the water here. Now they're selecting their characters, and we're good to sail away. So we sailed away here. We're gonna add 6 AI players, and this might be chaos. We'll see. It might be a little too much. High tide can be ridiculous, but it's a lot of fun for some of those even more competitive types. You know, it really makes the platforming have to be super precise. So as you saw in this map previously, you know, there was a big fortified beach underneath the brig here. Not anymore. Now it's just water. So the rowboat has moved up in high tide, so you can make the jump out of the rowboat into the platforms above it. And there's also an always-on idol. So you see that idol that's really destroying the middle of the map here. We're trying to get to it to move it, but it's not in a good spot for us. It's really denying the cannonballs and the cannon. But someone on our ship was able to throw it over to that blue team. So now it's going to take out people once their spawn invincibility wears off. But it sort of nipped us a little bit. We realized, all right, we're going to try to move this rowboat to the blue ship, but now there's a giant flaming balls coming from the sky that are taking us out. So in retrospect, probably wasn't the best idea. But we are pushing cannon, we are pushing gold as well, and their enemy captain isn't dealing too well with this. But as you can see, I'm trying to navigate in the bottom right here around all of these flaming things coming down, and I was not able to do it. So we weren't able to get that rowboat victory, and they were able to push it back. So really, this type of game mode, or this type of match, it could be as customizable as you want. If you're someone who loves to play with tons of different modifiers, items on high, and really just have kind of chaos happen, you can totally do that. You see all the animals here dropping nets whenever they're flying around, so it's even more chaos whenever they land. But if you're someone who likes games a little bit more, I don't know, competitive, sort of your Final Destination 3 stock, you can turn off items completely, have no modifiers on, and really play with just swords, gold, and cannonballs, and that's completely viable too. So we really wanted to put that option open to all of the different players, and the types of people that like that customized gameplay, and the types of people that like more of the competitive nature. Yeah, so we just said, okay, that was a little a little too crazy. Let's go back to character select and tone things down a little bit. So thankfully, if you didn't really love the way the match was set up, it doesn't take very long to just jump back on your ship and make some changes. So here we're gonna turn items down from extreme to high, and looks like we're gonna do kind of like a high firepower thing here with grape shots and TNT and blunderbusses and Molotov cocktails, and we're gonna turn off a few of these modifiers. So we'll put on some randomization. I'll turn off high tide here. Just turn on random captains for each team, and then we'll throw on infinite swords too. So there's even more sword play in the match. So here our players are jumping back in. We're adding some AI to the other team. You can see in the top here it still says we're playing Conquest, so it's still going to be that 1st to 3 on either side. And that little intro map that comes up also reminds you of what the goals are. So here we got our first to 3 here, 1st to 3 Conquest. It is random captains, so I, as Encryption, no longer the captain. Now, things are a little bit less chaotic. You can see with the beach added back in, it's a lot easier to move around in this map. But we did turn it to high explosive, so there's a lot of TNT that's starting to fly around. Use that as area denial, getting people away from rowboats. Somebody just took that into the rowboat and took out every single player. And with that grape shot, it really makes for really quick cannon shots to go off. So if you do see a grape shot, that red cannonball on the map, you can take it to the cannon, and the other team has to be quick to pounce on it. They have much less time. So we pretty much bullied them into two-pronged win here. We got the cannon and the rowboat more or less. So that's what happens when you get a bunch of developers facing AI at this point. We played the game a little bit too much, and we know all the secrets and all the strategies. So I think we decide here, yeah, let's shuffle the teams up a little bit. So I'm just holding one of the buttons on the controller here. As noted in the upper right, tells you which controller or what button to hit. And I'm just going to shuffle the teams until I feel pretty happy with the dispersion here. There we go. So I've got now 2 humans on one side and 2 humans on the other, and the rest are AI to fill out the match. So we're going to start up the second round of Conquest. Let's see what the strategies unfold here. Yeah, this time it's a lot more sword play that's more calculated as captain versus captain, human captains taking each other out. But looks like the blue team is really pushing that rowboat. So red team's been trying to eagle drop. So you see there's that captain that's been jumping in the air and doing these downward stabs into the boat. It's a really good way of taking them out. But the blue team is really hounding them with the cannon there. We had 2 cannon shots go off, all sorts of grape shot and shrapnel flying out and hitting all their players on their ship. So now blue team is really up when it comes to cannon. Rowboat's really in the middle, and then red team they're actually getting some gold here. You can see they only need a handful more gold. So blue team is starting to think, uh-oh, we need to head over to that boat and make sure they don't get any more gold here. Now red team's getting pretty close with the rowboat here, but they already got rowboat as a victory condition. So red team can push that boat as far as they want into that anchor on the lower right side of the screen, and it's not going to blow up the ship, but it will make it much harder for the blue team to get that rowboat over to the red side. They're going to have to row twice as far as they had previously. So even though you've taken an objective in Conquest, it's still smart to push that objective forward. Just so that you can prevent the other team from making any progress on their end. So it looks like blue team might just get the cannon victory here. Yep, no one was able to. We took out one of the players with the cannonball on the way through. So there we go, just got a cannon victory here. Looks like it's 1-1 in that cannon victory. Got the good games in the chat, and looks like I gotta run as we're almost out of time here. So I'm going to show you one little thing that's left. Once you're done plundering, you can go over to the infamy section on the game, and it's going to bring up your wanted poster. So it's going to randomly generate the name of your pirate here, and some adjectives for your pirate. If you would like to share it, you can click that little share button. It's going to copy this whole thing to your clipboard. And if you don't like the little adjectives, you can go back and re-roll for it. So now I've got some different adjectives describing my pirate. and I can go through and check out all my stats and all that fun stuff. So yeah, it's a great way to end your day. So thank you so much for joining us, checking out Plunder Panic, and I hope you have a great day. Thanks.